Hey, you guys. Welcome to day 2 of Empath Week. Yay. So excited to be with you guys. I know this is the big one for a lot of people, right? Wondering how on earth do I protect my energy? So if you're watching live, if you're watching the replay, if you have any questions about any of this stuff, feel free to leave a comment here on the video or just even anywhere in the group, and I'll be sure to address it. So energy protection for empaths, anybody can apply this to their lives. As I was kind of creating the outline of what I wanted to go over, being sure that I really took into consideration the special needs of empaths and how they experience things as I gave this insight and input. So I want to start off with, this isn't the typical energy protection conversation. Many of you most likely already know tools such as using white light to protect you, doing visualizations such as like putting on a cloak or like zipping up, putting on a shield, using essential oils, which I'll go more in depth to tomorrow, doing cord cuttings. You guys know this stuff. And if you don't, let me know and I will get you my little module on energy protection from my spiritual toolbox course. Those are really like simple ways to just refocus your energy, refocus what you're doing, how you're responding to things, and snap back into where you desire to be. Today, I want to go a little bit deeper with you all. Energy protection for empaths, right? So empaths, as we discussed yesterday, are these highly sensitive, highly intuitive souls who experience emotions and other experiences of others as if it was their own. And so I'm going to just pause a second. I'm going to oil up, you guys. So I'm going to oil up with some frankincense today and just a little dab on the third eye and on the pulse points. Beautiful. Okay. So first off, to experience life and feel so deeply is a gift. Just as feeling the pain of others, we also feel and experience the happiness of others. Empaths are the people who go as a +1 to a wedding of a couple they don't know and are the person bawling in row 5 because they're so overcome with the love that's present in the room. And so feeling so deeply is a gift. Rewire that conversation within your mind already. For many of you who are just realizing that you are an empath and that you are indeed this sensitive, it can feel overwhelming. It can feel more like a burden. But really applying all the things that I'm sharing with you today and throughout this week are going to help you tap into this in a healthier way. Hi, Cheryl. Thanks for joining. So again, anyone, replay live, ask any questions that you have. So don't be afraid of your sensitivity, you guys, because here's what happens when you are afraid of your own sensitivity. Ego projects this fear onto others. It projects it as an attack that is not actually happening. If we're so consumed with thinking like, I have to protect my energy, I'm an empath, I'm going to experience all of this pain and all of these low vibrating energies, and I don't want to experience that. I want to be high vibe. I want to be love and light. It's not going to happen if you don't accept your sensitivity, if you don't fully embrace and lean into being that sensitive, being that intuitive, being that empathic. And so constantly worrying will guide your thoughts and your focus, so that is all you're seeing. You're looking for the attacks when you're so concerned about them happening. And all of a sudden, ego is creating these illusions of these like forthcoming attacks that aren't even real. that aren't even real. So the first way you protect your energy is stop worrying about protecting it so much. It's stop thinking that this sensitivity is such a burden and that you're going to be attacked for it. Instead, lean into, no, my sensitivity is a gift and I'm going to experience things so much fuller because of it. And you'll start to realize that instead you're beginning to experience these events that feel good, and you go to a concert. And so one common thing for empaths, right, is crowds and large spaces can be very overwhelming. And I mean, I've definitely been there. But I've come to realize that concerts are one place where I fully bring my empath self. I come ready to feel it all. The oneness, everybody there for the same reason, the passion of the musician playing their instrument on stage, and the fans being so excited to be a part of the experience, and everybody swaying and clapping and just feeling it all, loving it all, welcoming it all in. And doesn't move me to tears? Absolutely. I cry at almost every concert that I go to. And that's okay. It's okay to be overwhelmed with that much love and wellness. It is, Cheryl said, very draining at times. Very draining at times. The crowd thing can be hard, especially when you are in an environment that is not in alignment with yourself. And sometimes we don't always have control over that, right? Like I'm thinking of like an amusement park. So our friends, our family want to go to the amusement park, and it's a really fun place, and we can be like have a lot of fun, but that doesn't mean that the empath isn't going to pick up on the family yelling in line behind them, or the couple who just got into a fight because they can't decide what they want to do next and things like that. It means that we have to be aware of what we're focusing in on a little bit. Hey, Laura. Okay, that's flowing perfectly, right? So when we're in those crowds, right, and we're in environments that aren't always in alignment with ourselves, it's so important that we know our own energy. We have to get to know our own energy if we want to know how to protect it and how to respond to what it needs. And the only way you do this really is through spending time alone and in stillness. And well, sometimes stillness, and sometimes they're like showing me, like I feel like people dancing, right? Like feeling that you have to be aware of the moments where you're doing the things that make you feel most like you. I had an experience when I was subpoenaed to go to court for a case that I was a therapist for. And I was really stressed out about this, you guys. Really stressed out, really overwhelmed with the pressure. We went for like a tour of the court to prepare those who were involved, and the energy of the courthouse was like absolutely exhausting. I mean, I just wanted to like cry the entire time I was in there. And I realized how much of it I was carrying with me, and how much I was just like in the space of being in the courtroom and on the stand and wondering what, the little one I was working with, what they were going through, and feeling like I was the 4-year-old that was, going through everything. And I was just so overwhelmed. And finally I was like, all right, I need to just like go for a walk, clear my head. So I took my dog. We went down to Forest Preserve that was close where we used to live in New Hampshire. And as I was walking around, I just like began to feel this release. And I'm just there with my dog, and I'm looking around at how beautiful everything is, with the huge rocks, with the tall trees. And I had this moment of like, this is your life, Chelsea. This moment, right here, right now, this is your life. Not in the courtroom. You're not in the court case. This right here, this is your life. And boom, my cup was filled back up. Like that. Like that. Taking that moment to realize that I was living out my life there. I was doing something that was purely for me, to fill up my cup, to make decisions, right? Because it felt also overwhelming and helpless, and so much was out of my control. And it was like, as stressful as of a situation as that was, like, so much that I wasn't truly even involved in. Like, the outcome of that was not going to impact my life in the same way that it was going to impact the lives of others. And it was okay for me to realize that and to admit that, and to kind of like reality check. It's not all about me. Shadow side of empaths. We're so selfless that sometimes we almost become selfish. And I say that with all the love, because I know for me, being called selfish is one of like my main triggers. Like that hurts me deeply when people say that or assume that I'm selfish. But what I mean by that is that we become so overwhelmed with the emotions that we're experiencing, because we're experiencing our own, we're experiencing others, that we feel like it's all about us and the emotions that we're experiencing, and it's not. It's not. And so sometimes we need a little bit of that tough love, a little bit of that kick in the ass to remember what it's really about, right? It's about being of service. It's about being connected. It's about living life on purpose. That's what this is all about. That's why we're empaths, is because we are meant to experience things this deeply. We are meant to be the healers, the light workers, the adventurers. We're meant to step into all of those things. I had an important part I was going to go with that. We're meant to do these things. It'll come back to me, you guys. I'm just going to check in on the comments. Yes. Cheryl saying energy highs and lows can be exhausting, but awareness makes it more fulfilling too. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So be mindful of living out your storyline. Okay. So all this, okay. Yeah, I remember. Okay. Spirit works through people. We know this. So relationships are one of our greatest spiritual assignments. Spirit works through people. We would be silly to think that spirit isn't working through us sometimes. And sometimes being an empath means being a reflector for people, and that we kind of show them what they're showing us. And in doing so, sometimes that can cause conflict, sometimes that can cause tension, but it is meant to be healing for both the empath and the person. So if you're in a situation and you recognize that you're not really feeling your energy, that you're in a group of people, you're picking up on somebody else's, and I'm definitely saying this from more of like the not feeling your best self, and maybe a little negative even. And so spirit can be working through you to help show that person where they need healing, and then to also say, like, this is where you need more healing too. We brought this up in this situation with this person, and this triggers, that way you could recognize that there's a space there for you to heal as well. So don't underestimate the fact that spirit is working through you as an empath as well. So with all that being said, you still need to set boundaries. You absolutely need to set boundaries, and nobody can do that but you. And so I have some tough love to give to you guys here. You have to stop being a people pleaser. I feel the confliction when people say that happiness is a choice, especially after all my years of working in the mental health field. I firmly do believe that people pleasing is a choice. You are indeed choosing what actions to take, what words to say in order to accommodate the needs of others while neglecting your own. And that's a choice you can stop making. Yes, there will be tension. Yes, you may experience obstacles. But what is worse, continuing on, being drained, being exhausted, feeling used and abused and neglected? That's not any fun either. It's time to step up and say, all right, I love myself enough that I'm going to set my boundaries. And that means knowing who to spend your time with and where to do it and what to be doing. Casinos for me. Casinos are a place that I do not enjoy. My husband loves them. He has so much fun with them. We're not going to go all the time. We will go maybe once or twice a year together because for me, they are extremely draining, the energy in them. I feel as if I'm overcome with addiction and just like witnessing a bunch of addiction around me. And it just is not a healthy place for me to be at all. And I know this because I know my energy. And so for casinos, for some empaths, may be a lot of fun. They may pick up on like the adrenaline and the excitement and the risk and the edge, but for me, it is not. And so I set that boundary that no, I'm not going to go to the casino all the time. And no, I'm not going to spend a lot of time there, even if I am. And so setting those boundaries. Well, okay, so one of the things that Laura, I believe, had brought up was like, how do you set boundaries and how do you protect yourself, but also like let people in? And it's really a accumulation of all the things I've been talking about. It's getting to know your energy so deeply that you really can trust what you're feeling. And then when you meet somebody or interacting with somebody, you can say, I'm going to fully engage. I'm going to open up. I'm going to bring in and be present. Or you can set that boundary. This is one of those things where I know it might not be exactly the best thing to say, but if you are around somebody who is not serving you and is draining you, it is okay to zone out a little bit. Especially you're with a group of people and there's that person and you're starting to pick up on their stress and they're unwilling to shift their narrative, right? All they want to do is vent. All they want to do is project. They're not looking for advice. They're not looking for support. Zone out. Excuse yourself from the conversation. Go get a drink of water. Go use the bathroom. It's a really easy way to set those boundaries. Create an empath buddy who you can just like text and they'll call you. And you can just walk away, pretend like you answered the call and not even have to talk to the person. And speaking of that, like as an empath, you have to set boundaries around like communication. I just made a post on Instagram a couple of days ago about how for me, one of the hardest parts about being an entrepreneur is keeping up with messages, and how part of that has to do with the bullying I experienced, the cyberbullying and anxiety coming when I go to open up my email or go to open up those messages. And another part of it is that like, all right, my energy resource can get drained pretty quickly. And so if I'm responding to message after message after message, it just isn't serving for me and it's not truly serving for the people I'm trying to interact with and respond with. And so I've accepted that I may not be the person that texts back right away, and that might make some of my friends and family a little frustrated, but I can't change that all the time. I'm better about it, and I'm more mindful about it because I know that it does bother people. And it's okay if I say, all right, I just did like 3 Reiki healing sessions in a row. They were beautiful, and I'm tired. I'm going to go rest and not respond to my phone. I'll even keep it in a whole separate room, you guys. Do not be afraid to keep your phone in a whole separate room. So have those boundaries. Set them, stick to them, give up being a people pleaser, and choose to please yourself instead. I wrote the question ever, like, how is staying in an unhealthy situation good for anyone? Right? If we're making choices and we're doing things and we're saying things just because we want to please somebody, that's not healthy. We doing things or saying things just for the sake of not hurting somebody, right? That's not healthy. They may need to hear what you have to say, or there may be somebody out there who wants to support them in the way that they're seeking to be supported, and you have to be willing to let them find that, and then that opens up for you to be calling in more authentically aligned people and experiences. So most of all, honor your energy as sacred. Make that decision from the start, saying my energy is sacred, and I'm going to listen to it, and I'm going to follow what it has to share with me. I am going to lean into my sensitivity and see that feeling and experiencing things so deeply is a blessing. And because it is a blessing, I'm going to be picky about where my energy goes, who it goes to, and what it is going to. Use those tools such as the white light, essential oils, and calling in Archangel Michael for protection. I also really recommend welcoming in Kundalini chanting into your life. I just meditated to Adgurai Name, which is a Kundalini chant for protection right before hopping on this. And I'll listen to Kundalini chanting just even while I'm in the shower. And that's a really beautiful, simple way of bringing in that spiritual protection into your life. So Laura commented. Oh, Laura. Okay. Laura, I'm going to send you a personal message just because of I just have a few things to say back to your comment. And I worked with that population as well. So I'm going to message you after I sign off this. So, okay, you guys, I think that's it for the comments. And that's going to be it for me for today. So let me know if you have more questions about energy protection and just about being an empath in general, and I'll try to address them throughout the week. Alrighty, guys, take care.